Yes.
Call to order and recording of members present and absent.
Shane Hanson,
Yes.
Karen Kane,
Here.
Larry Parker,
Yes.
Tiffany Slater. Here. Jane McDermott.
Here. Open meeting compliance statement.
I, the undersigned clerk of the Board of Education of the Alva Independent School District Number 1 of Woods County, Oklahoma, certify that prior to December 15 of the last calendar year, the date, time, and place of this regular meeting was filed in the office of the County Clerk of Woods County, Oklahoma. I also certify that at least 24 hours prior to this meeting, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, notice of the date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting was posted in prominent public view at the location of the meeting. Witness my hand this 6th day of August 2018.
Number 3, consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature, normally approved by one board vote, unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and approval of the following items. 3.1, addition of items of new business to the agenda. 3.2, minutes of the July 9th, 2018 regular board meeting, the July 16th, 2018 special board meeting, and the July 26th, 2018 special board meeting. Approval of the treasurer's report on the status of funds and investments. I'll read them all and then we'll go back and look at it.
Sure.
Approval of the activity fund report. Approval of the activity fund fundraisers.
Okay, if we go back and look at our minutes, I did not see any errors with any of our minutes from our regular and special board meetings in July. The treasurer's report, our July investments are totaling over $10 million. Terry and I really looked through this, and all the maturity dates for all of our investments are current and up to date. The treasurer's report is as of July 31, and you'll notice that the total money we have on hand is over $8 million, and we have $18,000 in outstanding warrants. And I just wanted to point out to you all that what that means is that we have paid invoices to people, but they have not cleared through our checking. So there are still some outstanding money from 18 that we're still going to have to be paying. The activity fund report. Most organizations haven't started any of their fundraisers as of yet. There's been a few, so there hasn't been much change since you've looked at the July activity fund report. You're going to see the fireworks with NFL, which would be 9/18. They finished their fundraiser. Softball sold some T-shirts and finished that fundraiser. Those are the big ones that have happened right now with the activity fund report. Activity fundraisers. You'll see the first one is football is selling T-shirts. Then there are 2 in there from Lincoln for the water machine. They have a vending machine that sell water in the cafeteria. And then also for the ice cream machine. And then there are 6 different fundraisers that Ms. Brown has brought in for cheerleading. And some of them are kind of some new things that she's going to try. Those. So they're going to be doing a raffle style third quarter pick four. 4 children are chosen each home football game to cheer during the third quarter. So she's going to try something new there. Button sales for megaphones and warm-ups and mats. She's also going to sell glow sticks and a blackout pep rally on January 29th for basketball homecoming. And then a paper airplane toss, also basketball homecoming. Football cookie sales, August 31st for the first football home game. Pie in the face for teachers. And then we have a last one that we just got in today, and that is from Coach Collins for cross country. She is on maternity leave, but she got that in. And this is for t-shirt sales for the cross-country team. Any questions about the consent agenda? If not, I would recommend that we approve the consent agenda.
I
move that we approve the consent agenda, those items referenced in 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and 3.5.
A second.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott.
4, vote to approve purchase order encumbrances for the following funds for fiscal year 19. 4.1 general fund as referenced. 4.2 building fund as referenced. 4.3 child nutrition fund as referenced. And 4.4 gift fund as referenced.
Okay, so we start first with the general fund. Look at number 91, it's curriculum associates. It's a $7,500 purchase order. This is for our special education. Miss Lovelace is going to kind of give a little report on what this means and what they're going to use with that program in just a second. Purchase order number 111, that's a Merrifield's purchase order. It's for Washington's classroom supplies and office supplies. Purchase order number 122, that is our strategic plan with the school board. We're going to be meeting with them tomorrow from 8:15 to 10:15 as administrators and begin going through some ideas that we have and how we're going to work with the community in shaping that plan. So we're looking forward to that. Purchase order number 136 is another Merrifield's. It is for Lincoln school supplies and materials. Purchase order number 148 is Edgenuity. That is the alternative education software for the high school, allows for students and credit recovery. Purchase order number 163, that is our library software used for inventory, book checkout, book check-in. Purchase order number 168 is DT spraying. That's spraying all the grass at all of our sites and also parking lots. That's 4 times a year. Purchase order number 173. OneNet is our new internet provider. We believe that E-rate will cover the funding for this, but we encumbered the money in case E-rate doesn't, but we believe that they will. Purchase order number 174 is Pioneer. Pioneer provides the internet infrastructure, something I've learned in the last couple of weeks. So that is in between each building. They provide the service in between the buildings. OneNet is within the buildings. And that's a change from last year. We did not have that last year. Purchase order number 175 is Beasley Technology Service. This is a server that we have down here at the central office that is used to back up data. This is our second year to do that. So we are going to continue to use that Beasley Technology Service. Purchase order number 176 is ACT Aspire. This is a new assessment program that our high school is going to use to prepare students for the ACT. Purchase order number 178 is Sports Facility Resources. This was to clean the turf at the indoor facility. That turf has to be cleaned for infection and just maintenance and protection of it. So that was done with purchase order number 178. 187, Index of Oklahoma. This is the fire alarm company. They monitor each site. So we have a box at each site, and if there's a fire alarm tripped or if there's a need, an actual fire, they're called. That is the company that we go through. We have for, gosh, as long as I can remember. Purchase order 188 is Treat Solutions. That's custodial supplies for all sites for the first semester. Purchase order number 189 is the Circle H cleaning contract for $30,000. That is for Lincoln and Alva High School, and that is for all year. 192, BSN Sports, that's high school football uniforms. They were in the purchasing rotation this year. Purchase order number 202, Behavior Doctor Seminars. That is a professional development initiative that we're going to begin this spring. I think Mr. Feely and maybe Ms. Williams will touch on that a little bit in their report, but we'll have we're going to have somebody come in and work with our teachers on managing student behavior. So we're looking forward to that. 223, Merrifield's office supply. That's just an open district PO for $10,000 for the district. Purchase number 224 is Signs Plus. That is to repair the digital sign at Alva High School. So you'll be seeing some work done on that in the next few weeks. And then purchase order number 257 is High Techtronics. We had some issues with our door locks at Alva High School, Alva Middle School, and Longfellow, and High Techtronics had to come out and work on some of those door locks to get them working properly. It was a really good opportunity also for Caitlin, our new IT director, was able to work with them on that and gain a little bit of knowledge on how those door locks work. The general fund payroll, those are new employees that have been hired, and we also have a voc rehab salary in there also. With the building fund, Rose Plumbing, that is just a blanket purchase order. They also did some work for shelves in the boys' basketball locker room. It was originally supposed to be done early spring, I believe, and there was an injury to the person. They couldn't get in there and get it done, so now they were able to complete that this summer. And then number 20, Brandon's Comfort Solution, is a $5,000 blanket purchase order. 4.3, the Child Nutrition Fund. We had Menjarez and Sons come, and they had to, this was part of our inspection, and they had to come and install a cage around the air conditioning unit at the Alva High School cafeteria. They had to get some scaffolding back there and cover that cage so the elements weren't getting in there. So they completed that work. Heartland Solutions is child nutrition software that Mrs. Eccles uses each day. And then 4.4, the gift fund, there is nothing to report there.
I vote to approve 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and then 4.4 is no change. So.
Second.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson.
Yes.
Superintendent's report. I'll put one resignation, retirements, and reassignments.
Okay, we have one resignation. Kathleen Hanlon is resigning as a paraprofessional. For communications, I want to remind all of you about the school board meeting on August the 23rd to the 26th. So please let me know if you're, or contact Pam about reservations or agendas for that weekend. And then I received our accreditation report today, and all sites have no deficiencies. Save Lincoln, we were too quick on the tornado drill. We had it in August instead of September, so it was a few days early. So we are a deficiency there, so we want to make sure that we don't jump the gun again and do things quickly. So
Sorry,
it's okay.
but we were ready if there was going to be a tornado in September.
So, Mrs. Lovelace, if you would, I'll give you some time here to talk a little bit about iReady
Yes.
and that previous purchase order.
I just brought, just real quick, these, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, so just,
No,
um,
I don't.
what iReady is, he already knows all about it.
That's right.
So, I just, would you like?
No,
Oh, okay,
you're good.
Yeah, I figured.
You're fine.
All right, so it's an all-encompassing type of situation program. It's an adaptive diagnostic. It's a lot like Max in that area, where if you get some right or wrong, depending on how you answer questions, it adapts itself to your level. Okay, so it has that piece. And then it's based upon, if you'll just go to page 5, this is what I love about it. There are 5 areas of reading that we look at diagnostically. We look at phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. And so this actually breaks this down for us. And the comprehension piece is especially exciting because it does nonfiction and fiction. Because we think about that reading very differently. When you're reading fiction, you've got to think about the setting and the characters. And nonfiction, you're actually deriving information from that. And so it breaks it down to the skill that the kids need. And so then, of course, it also assesses our math domains, the number and operations, the measurement data, algebra, and geometry. And then, depending upon that assessment, once they go back in, if you'll go ahead and turn to page 8, once they log back in on it, they have a targeted pathway that's ready for them in both reading and math to be able to get practice on the skills that they need. But it's not starved from teacher-led instruction, because iReady also gives us teacher ideas and lessons to do in direct instruction. And this is the very exciting piece about it, is that it has a progress monitoring. So we know if what we're doing is working or not. And we do that in between our diagnostics assessments. We'll assess 3 times this year. But in between times, there's these little chunks of assessments that we can take to make sure that they're getting the skills that they need. And so it's engaging to kids. If you'll just look at, this gives the middle school environment of what it looks like online. For the elementary, it has characters, and if you can earn some things, and then you can play games, but the games are completely directed toward instruction. So then communication with parents. The parents can log in and see their students' progress on that. And then, of course, at the IEP meeting, we'll go over those reports with them. So it's super exciting.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Yeah,
Other
did
questions?
y'all have any questions?
You said you would test 3 times a year?
We'll do the diagnostic 3 times,
Oh, okay.
but we'll do those progress monitoring probably every 3 weeks. Yeah. So that's what I love about this, is that it gives us information, it gives us feedback to make sure that those interventions are working.
Does everybody take this at the start?
These are just students who receive special education services. So this is our Tier 3 assessments. In our Tier 1, we do maths, and that gives us good information. But you know, Tier 3 needs to be more targeted, and so it really breaks it down for us. And it really does compare with maths as well. So you really want to get 3 pieces of data on a student, especially if they're a Tier 3 kid. So you can triangulate your data so you can make sure where their target areas are. So yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Legislative updates?
The only legislative update is, and you probably read this in the paper, is the state question 801 on the November ballot, which is going to regard building fund. And so that's something we're going to have to continue to watch closely. It's been proposed that building fund monies can be used for general expenses. So that's something we're going to have to kind of keep our eye on as to what is the School Board Association saying, what is COSA saying. I can tell you that I think Sean Heim was in the newspaper, but I haven't heard a lot out of the School Board Association yet. So I'm sure we'll get some more information when we attend the School Board Association on what their feelings are on that, but I just might make you aware of that.
Principals reports?
Mr. Keelan.
So we're getting ready to start giving our NWEA math assessments again, and this will be the second full year for everybody to take them. And so there are some additional things that they've added to the reports that I'm going to show you that are really interesting. I'm going to use one of my boys so we don't breach confidentiality on anybody else's student. What they have added here is, in this area right here, are growth and achievement measures. And what is kind of key to this is that in the past year, NWEA has been doing a linking study that links their assessment to the state assessments. And so by the scores that we see in this, we should be able to predict what students are going to get on the OCCTs. So right in this area right here, it says NWEA generic linking study. And so he is projected to be advanced on math when he takes that test in the next year. There is also an ACT linking study as well. And we were trained today with Gene Potter from OPSRC She tells us that what they're finding is that the linking study with ACT is very accurate. And so this is telling what his ACT would be. And I'm not sure if it'd be the next spring or when he gets into high school. I think it's on, as he progresses, it should be at that level. They also have a linking study with SAT. Now, some other things as we've kind of dug into this that we did not see last year that are really interesting is this College Explorer tool. And so when you pull that up, basically each of those dots represent a college that he would be eligible to go to based on what they're projecting for him. The interesting thing about that is, zoom in here a little bit. Take for instance, all right, I don't want to look at Southwestern.
No,
Absolutely.
friends don't let friends go.
We'll look here at USAO, and when we pull that up, it's going to show a lot of information about what a student would need to have to go to USAO. And it's really interesting as far as like what it's going to cost. So typical annual cost paid by family income, anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000. The average amount that a family may borrow to pay for that, $7,500. It will tell us what the average earnings after 10 years might be, from a high end to a low end. High end 44,000, mid-range 32,000, low end 18,400. And then it also goes into some depth about ACT scores. So at USAO, the 25th percentile normally has a 16 on the ACT. The 75th percentile has a 22. And you know, you're going to see your median probably has a very high probability that they're going to finish that degree at USAO. So it compares the RIT score, which that is the score that they get on the MAP test, and compares it to these ACT and SAT scores. It's just got a wealth of information about a myriad of things that might be important to a student. I would say even from 6th grade on up, as we start meeting and conferencing with students and getting them to think about careers, think about where they want to go. This kind of will help parents in parent-teacher conferences and kind of plan for the future a little bit. So, but there's, if he wants to get out of state and get away from dad, well, we can find out what it's going to cost to do that and what kind of degree options they have. If you look down here at USAO, 16% of their graduates are business majors, 15% are education majors. So there's just a wealth of information that I think will be very useful for junior high, high school, and even students at middle school. Now, because HUD was just in the district last year, we don't have as much data, but when we see the students that have been at Lincoln and are probably at the middle school now, you'll see 3 and 4 years of data that shows a growth pattern for them. This test our assessment is particularly important to us because it is actionable data where the state assessments are not. We won't probably see the state assessments until October, but these tests give us some data and some time to work on it with our students. And I would tell you from the training with Jean Potter today, she said our teachers are light years ahead of all the other districts that they're working in terms of setting goals with students and targeting interventions and targeting standards. And so, we felt like we had made a lot of progress with that last year, but what I think is important about it is that it was neat test and validation from outside the district. So I was very impressed with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I think what we'll see is an amplification of everything that we've been doing. Every year I think we're going to see it amplified because we're eliminating holes in knowledge and the standards and the curriculum. And I just think we're going to see a lot of improvement as we continue with this program. Any questions about math?
How will parents get this information? Will it be, can they
So-
access it?
So this is just one of the reports that we have access to. It's the best one in my opinion. To print this would be very expensive because we'd be running through color ink like crazy. My recommendation to my staff will be that when we go in for a parent-teacher conference, that they just pull their computer up and start showing our parents and students what that looks like. And of course, the college and career readiness part will be more at the middle school and Lincoln probably to this point. But it would have to be during parent-teacher conference because there isn't a parent login.
There's not.
No.
And is it just higher ed readiness? Is there any technical readiness or any other type of?
At this time, there's no technical school readiness.
No other component.
But this is something that wasn't there last year, and like I said, a whole new avenue for us to work with students.
They've always been really responsive, and that's one of the things we thought is, can we get a parent login? So I think when we share information with them, they seem to really listen, because there's other schools that are thinking the same things we are. So I'm sure in the future we'll continue to see technical schools, and it's just going to continue to grow.
So one other thing, and I'm just going to briefly talk about this because I think my colleagues are going to go into a little bit more depth, but we're going to be using this positive-based intervention systems, which Mr. Argo mentioned during the encumbrances. And we'll be working with Dr. Laura Riffle, which is recommended by the State Department for the implementation of this system. It's positive behavior intervention systems. And what it's going to give us is a common language for discipline across the elementaries and on up into middle school, which I think is going to further unify our campuses, which we've been trying to do. We have been kind of tinkering with it, I guess, at Washington when we were working with Tara Warwick, and we're taking it a step further. I think it's going to be great, but I'll let them talk a little bit more about some of the particulars.
Ms. Fontaine?
Okay.
You're up.
All right. We have a couple exciting things going on at the middle school. Of course, as you know, we have back to school night tomorrow night. At the middle school, we decided that we wanted to try something a little bit different. For those new incoming 6th grade students and for any other new students in the district, and really for anybody who, wants to get a jump on things, J.C. Heaton and I got together and we kind of collaborated and came up with the idea that we're going to do like a mock schedule. The kids really, sometimes, they're scared about coming in, they're scared about switching classes. We want them to see that they do have time to go from class to class. They do have time to go to their lockers. So we're going to kind of practice that rotation so they can see, when you go to first hour, this is what it's going to be. They're going to do this hopefully with their parents if they show up, and if they don't, that's okay. Sometimes, the parents have to go be with the little kids, and do other things, and that's okay too. But we want to, go in, they'll get to meet each one of their teachers, and the teachers will explain a little bit about, their classroom, and just a very brief introduction. And then we will also have informational tables set up in the cafeteria so the kids can learn about FCCLA and TSA and the academic team and student council, and then to end the night, we'll give them their locker assignments and they can go and put their stuff in their lockers. So we're going to give that a whirl and see how that goes this year. Also, our cross country is getting ready to get underway. Mrs. Christensen is our coach for the middle school, and she is having a meeting tomorrow night, and then she has established 4 meets. We're going to be going to Freedom, to Hennessy, and then to 2 different ones in Cherokee. We decided we would kind of stay close for the first year and kind of see, how things go, and we're kind of excited to get started on that. So, any questions?
Is that just 7th and 8th?
7th and 8th, yes.
Thank you.
going to kind of parlay on what Mr. Feely started. We're talking about testing and different things like that. We had a training today with ACT, and one of the invoices that you saw was for ACT Aspire. And essentially that ACT Aspire is a program to, the ACT is how we're judged. That's the information that's put out across the state that we are compared to other districts with. And the ACT Aspire program goes from 3rd grade to 10th grade. One of the questions that I asked today to the trainer was, because we use MAPS and WEA down there, how does it correlate? I mean, obviously the ACT people they said, oh no, it would be better if you use 3rd grade through 6th grade. But what Shane's showing you is there's a good parlay from what we're using in the lower grades. It gives us good data for what we're doing with 9th and 10th graders. And so we're going to give them the ACT Aspire. That's kind of what we're going to use for the formative assessments and the summative assessment at the end. But we're going to give them there's actually 4 tests that they have developed that we can give kids throughout the year. We're going to give one about the 2nd week of September. Sometime in there, we'll give another one about the 1st week of December. And then we'll give a 3rd one for, probably the last week of February, 1st week of March, somewhere before spring break. And we can give those one per day in a 4-day block, so kids aren't sitting for 4 hours and doing that. What I thought we would probably do is we would probably give 2 on one day and 2 on another day on the first one. And then we'll work up to the one that we give in February they'll sit all 4 hours, because that's what they're going to have to do for the ACT. So we're going to try to get some really good data and let them take those in little chunks early to get kind of where they're at, kind of test the knowledge part of it. But then we're going to try to get them test ready by the 3rd one in late February. But I was real encouraged that that correlation between NWEA or the MAPS testing that we give in the lower grades is going to translate and push our kids to do well on the ACT as they get to where we need to use the ACT at our level, because that's just where the state is right now. So I had a real good discussion with teachers. We did trainings in 2 sessions today, and it was really just my teachers, my core teachers and my special ed teachers that came to that training, and I sat in both of those sessions, and we had a real good discussion when it was over about what the expectation is going to be and what I'll be looking for and different things like that. So everybody's kind of on board with this, and it's which is refreshing for us, because it's kind of hard to get secondary people to be together sometimes, and it's one of the things that I've got to do and figure out how to get them to think more alike, because they're real independent. And that's not just here, it's that way everywhere. It's just secondary people. But I feel real good about the place that we're at, and the direction that we're going with testing, and the information that we're going to have to make our, we've got to figure out a way to continue to raise our average ACT score. We went 2 years ago when the state started paying for it, our average ACT went down because we had kids take the test that didn't normally take the test. Some of our lower level kids were taking it, and so statewide it bumped it down a little bit. I feel real good. Alva, we're still above the state average. We're still above the national average, slightly, but we're there. But I feel like we need to be more on the cutting edge. And I talked to our teachers about rigor at the high school, and about we're going to push our kids and get them out of their comfort zone a little more than we have. So I got some head nods and different things like that. So I'll continue to push that. But we want to challenge our kids to get out of their comfort zone a little bit and try to be better every day.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Ms. Tucker?
Like Irwin said, we're having back to school night tomorrow, 5 to 7, and Longfellow likes a good theme. So our theme this year is an island theme. So the teachers have been busy preparing their classrooms and decorating the halls. So you are welcome to come walk through the halls as well, and maybe even get some leis and some palm trees and a volcano, all sorts of exciting things going in our hall to welcome our students. And as Shane kind of introduced a little bit, we're implementing several things in our district to kind of help with alignment. And all of our elementary schools and the middle school is implementing a new discipline referral system where we will gather data pretty much of when, where, and why our students are acting out, if they're acting out, having less positive behaviors in the classroom. Shane made a Google form for each of our sites, along with Dr. Riffle, who we mentioned is going to be helping us, that our teachers will fill out. It's a Google form within 24 hours of when they sent a student to the office, preferably before, but that's not always how it happens. Sometimes it's very immediate and they need to go now. And that will give us data to see if it's something that we can do to help prevent the situation in the future. We'll meet with Dr. Laura Riffle in January, and she'll be looking and going through our data and help us make those positive behavioral interventions to help our students with better decision making. And kind of on the lines of that, something that Longfellow is doing, this is the former counselor in me is excited about, our students are going to be receiving 2 classes of counseling this year. Prior to, they've always had 25 minutes a week. And so this year we're going to do 2 25-minute sessions. I'm being a counselor I've been a counselor in all 3 of elementary schools. 25 minutes a week is you're just getting started. And so sometimes you feel like you just need a little bit more time. So Mrs. Baker is our 2nd grade counselor, and Mrs. Pingrich is our 3rd grade counselor. They're going to work together on that 2nd day. Sometimes they'll be together, sometimes they'll be separate, and they're just kind of bouncing off a lot of great ideas, looking at our student needs, and I believe that the data we're going to be gathering for our discipline referral will help with that. Making small groups if they need to address the needs and help our students. And we're just going to focus time on building good character. I have a firm belief that if we start with a solid character here, it's going to follow them. There's going to be less problems at the middle school, less problems at the high school. And so I'm really excited that the teachers are willing to give up 25 more minutes, a week out of their classroom, because I think it's going to give back to them, because they're not going to be dealing with the interruptions and the behaviors that they may have when we can be proactive and give those kids those strategies. So I'm really excited about that, and it ties right into what the district's doing. So I'm excited.
Very cool. Have you guys seen our professional development agenda? Everyone's kind of mentioned that started today. Well, I printed one out
Well,
for
thank
you.
you.
So, you want to
I'd
pass
be
those
happy
around?
to.
There's all kinds of things in there. This year, we wanted to give the teachers a chance to kind of choose what sessions they wanted to attend. So as you know, we got new active panels for many of the teachers in the district. So we had some training on that, which is really great. If you haven't had a chance to go into a classroom and check one of those out, you need to. You probably have fun just playing on it. But we had some training on that. We had a lot of teachers request training on differentiation. They really wanted some actual strategies that they could take back to the classroom. So we had differentiation. There were some instructional strategies that aligned to their evaluation, the TLE, and that was a really great presenter. Our new student information system, we had a trainer on that so they could start setting up their grade book and learn how to put in attendance. Google Classroom. Middle school and high school really wanted their teachers to get in and find out a little bit more about Google Classroom because we are getting Chromebooks, which would be using Google Classroom. There's CPR training. There's all kinds of random stuff in there, but we had really great attendance. Paris had specific training. We've got Tara Warwick coming tomorrow. The new math curriculum that we have for middle school and high school was able to make it. And if you just want to look through there, read through, but now you kind of see what we've been doing. It was on the website. Pam put this agenda on the website as well. But it was very meaningful professional development today, is the feedback I got, so I hope it really was. I'm going to be a little parrot here. Shane said a little bit, Allison said a little bit about PBIS. Mr. Argo started learning earnings. Do you guys remember that? At Lincoln a few years ago. Which is essentially PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention, supports a way to reward good behavior. And we've used it now 4 years, maybe 4 years. Anyway, because we got a new student information system, we had to move on from that because it was connected to our old student information system. And we found PBIS rewards, which is exactly the same thing essentially. It's just a little bit different. One of the things that's different is everything is awarded electronically.
So the students at Lincoln are gonna get a little ID badge that the teacher can decide if they want them to keep it on their desk or if they want to wear it. But they can put the app on their phone, and anywhere in the building, if they're in a hallway and the custodian sees them do something great, they can just scan their little ID badge and they get a point. And then, like Learning Earnings, we have a store, the Bug Boutique. We did that.
A little different from what I should.
It did, the Learning Earnings store did get referred to as the Lincoln Amazon Prime, by the way.
Okay.
Because it was, they ordered it online and they got it by Friday. But it's the same thing, so they can actually come to the room and shop also. So it's very, very similar, but there will be a few differences. And part of that, we did not want to lose Learning Earnings because it is such an essential part of Lincoln. I mean, it's the common language that we all talk about. You know, everyone uses it. The cooks, the custodian, the librarian, the teachers, the paras. So we didn't want to lose that, and this really just was perfect because, no offense, Mr. Argo, I think it's a little bit better than Learning Earnings. Not that it wasn't great, but it's just a little bit better, and everyone's really excited to use it. So I'm going to read you a quote here because I thought this was perfect for what we've been talking about. So positive behavior intervention and supports. So like Allison mentioned, we're going to start tracking data of behavior this semester. And then Dr. Riffle will come in January, and we're going to start looking at what we documented. And the form that Mr. Feely made tells, like, where did the behavior happen? Who did it involve? Why do you think they did, what happened before the behavior happened? What was the behavior? What happened after they had the behavior? What do you think we could do to prevent the behavior later? It's a very great form. But hopefully we can go back and look at all of these things and see, like, is it the same time of day? Why is it happening at the same time? But here's my little quote. If a child doesn't know how to read, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to swim, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to multiply, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to drive, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to behave, we teach, punish. Why can't we finish the last sentence as automatically as we do the others? That is Tom Herner, NASDE, President, 1998. But I think that's so true. I think it's something we face all the time in education, that when someone breaks a rule, they get punished. And we don't talk about why did they break that rule and how do we fix that so they don't do it again. One benefit of improving student behavior is they're going to be more engaged in the classroom. And when they're more engaged, we're going to see better student performance. So it's all just a cycle that connects really well. And I think it's a really important piece of the puzzle that I'm really glad that we're jumping on this year and we're doing it together. I think we'll see a response not just from our students, but from teachers, because it's offering them an opportunity, and just as administrators, an opportunity for us to improve behavior in a way that will be reflective throughout their academic performance. So, I think that's all. There's more things I can say, but
Very good.
Thank
Thank you
Yeah.
all.
Good
yeah.
job, all of them. That was very good. Thank you.
You get us excited, that's right. Items of current business, 7.1, discussion of possible board action, vote to approve an offer of employment for the following bus drivers for the 2018-19 school year. 7.11, Scott A. Law, 7.1.2, Stephen P. B. Gale.
Okay, and Scott and Steve both have driven for us previously. We do this, they're employed as teachers, but then this is a separate contract for their bus driving, and I would recommend that we approve Scott and Steve as our bus drivers for 18-19.
I would make a motion that we hire Scott and Steve to be bus drivers for 18-19 school year.
Second.
Slater?
Yes.
McDermott?
Aye.
Hanson?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Discussion with possible board action, vote to approve offer of employment for the following non-certified positions for the 2018-19 school year. 7.2.1, applicant number 1.
Mrs. Lovelace, would you like to go ahead and introduce her profession?
This is our new, Jackie Sims, and it's an Ince, yes. Since Kathleen Hamlin, actually resigned, we have offered employment based upon if you guys say it's okay to Jackie. And she came to the para training this afternoon and she participated really well. We're really excited to have her on board.
Yeah, well,
She will be working at Longfellow.
okay. Jackie?
Our next non-certified applicant is Darren Kearns. Darren will be driving a bus route in the morning and afternoon. Darren did some driving last year with some of our activity buses. So, and also did some substitute driving on route buses last year for us. And then the third applicant is Jeff Leviso. Jeff will be working down at the bus barn during the day, moving students to career tech. Anytime we graceful arts, anytime we have any type of activity, Jeff will help in shuttling those students around town and also do some other maintenance and work down at the bus barn. And then we'll also have a morning and afternoon bus route.
Move that we offer employment to those persons identified in 7.21, 7.2.2, 7.2.3 as referenced.
I'll second that.
Hanson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Slater.
Yes.
Glad you were here to represent all three of them.
Yes, Roger.
7.3, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the extra duty salary schedule for 2018-19.
I want to thank Mrs. Kane, Mr. Hanson, Mr. Potter, and Ms. Martini. We had a great meeting together, good feedback, very helpful. We're going to meet again here in a few weeks to wrap up a couple more assignments, and there's a couple of things we're still looking at with the extra duty salary. But a couple of changes that you'll notice is that we made an addition with an auditorium coordinator, and we'll explain that in just a minute when we get to the assignments. And then also long-term substitute salary wage, we had not increased that to reflect that $1.20 increase, so we made that change to reflect that $1.20 increase also. I would recommend that we approve that extra duty salary schedule 7.3.
I would make the motion that we accept the extra duty salary schedule as presented.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
7.4, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the extra duty assignments for 2018-19.
Okay, we'll start with the auditorium director, coordinator, Nick Broad. So what we looked at, there are so many activities that happen throughout the year in our auditorium, and Nick does an outstanding job. From setting up the sound, Nick has picked up and cleaned up after an outside entity has used the auditorium, and we felt like this would be a good opportunity to show some appreciation for what he's done. So you'll notice that on those assignments. You're also going to see throughout the schedule mentor teachers. We feel like that's really important as administrators that we attach some of our new teachers to mentors. There's a checklist that we've developed, and they are able to work with that mentor teacher. Our new teachers are able to work with that mentor teacher through that checklist, and this is just a little compensation to say thank you for that work that they do. We have class sponsors that have been added that you will notice, and mine is highlighted in yellow, but you'll notice class sponsors that have been added. And then we also have Jacob Gould will be taking over the soccer for the boys and girls at the high school. He has been an assistant for the last few years and has done a good job with that. We have Dusty Warren as athletic director, and for the high school, it's Scott Baugh as the assistant. Notice we have some special ed, 5% of their base in addition has been added to this also. And then we've been able to finalize all of our football coaches at Alva High School and Alva Middle School. At Alva Middle School, Dalton Beeler will be the head coach, and Ryan Wilson will assist him. And then we have Mike Sklar obviously moved up to the head coaching position in both football and track. And then Kelly Woods as building sponsor on that last page. Kelly Woods will be the middle school building sponsor. And Caitlin Weathers, our new FFA teacher, vocational agriculture teacher, and then will be the assistant FFA sponsor. She brought 2 years from Cushing into the job. Do you have any questions about any extra duty assignments? We are still going to meet, and there's still a few left when you look at electric gold, and I think that will wrap up our extra duties.
Any motion on this?
I move that we approve the extra duty assignments as referenced in 7.4.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Kane,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
7.5, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve renewing the following evergreen contracts with American Fidelity. 7.5.1, we want to approve them separately or all together?
You can do them all together.
Affordable Care Act employee tracking and reporting. 7.5.2, AF Plan Services 403B Plan Document. 7.5.3, Section 125 Flexible Benefits Plan.
Okay, so this has been a good learning experience for me, and still a lot to learn on these evergreen contracts. So what that is that's a renewal each year of these contracts through American Fidelity. And so what American Fidelity provides for us is with the Affordable Health Care Act, they send out all the 1095Cs that we send to our employees to help track that. And American Fidelity takes care of that after Myra uploads all that data into their program. The 403B is a tax-saving annuity that the school employees can contribute to. We worked with American Fidelity for as long as I can remember with those tax-saving annuities. And then also the flex benefit plans. They've also been the provider that the school has worked with for as long as I can remember with annuities and healthcare policies. So I would recommend that we approve 7.5. I think I've been moving this on you, Jane. 5, 1, 2, and 3.
I'd make the motion we approve renewing the following evergreen contracts, 7.51, 7.52, and 7.53.
Second.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
7.6, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve Brooke Meyer as an adjunct instructor for anatomy and physiology for the 2018-19 school year.
This is something that we've done the past few years, and students can receive credit through Northwest Technology and by enrolling in that anatomy and physiology class with Brooke, and I would recommend that we approve item 7.6.
I'll make a motion we approve 7.6.
Second?
Hanson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Slater.
Yes.
7.7, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve Dixie Meyer as an adjunct instructor for 2 hours of chemistry for the 2018-19 school year.
Okay, and Dixie is going to teach 2 hours of chemistry, and her background in nursing allows her to be distinguished, which allows her to be an adjunct teacher for those 2 hours. You can do a maximum of 3, and Dixie's going to do that for 2. That her medical background allows her to do that through the adjunct, and I would recommend that we vote to approve Dixie as an adjunct instructor for 2018-2019.
Make a motion we approve 7.7.
Second.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
7.8, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve Mary Tyree as adjunct instructor for 1 hour of life science for the 2018-19 school year.
Okay, so Mary also will be able to teach as an adjunct that 1 hour. And Mary, I believe, has even taken a test and is awaiting results on that life science. So I would recommend that we approve Mary as a 1 hour adjunct instructor for 2018-2019.
So moved.
Second.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
7.9, discussion with possible board action, vote to accept credits from Northwest Technology Center for students attending career tech classes and earning credits in mathematics and/or science for fiscal year 19.
And again, this is something that we've done previously, allows our students to work with our career tech with those math and science classes, and I would ask the board to approve that they continue to accept those credits from Northwest Technology Center for students that attend career tech classes for math and science at Alva High School.
I'll make that motion that we accept credits from Northwest Technology Center students attending career tech to earn credits in math and/or science for fiscal year 19.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Slater,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
7.10, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the contract for secondary career and technology education programs with the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education for fiscal year 19.
So what this has to do with, when we participate in our FACS classes, which is our at Alva High School and Alva Middle School, in our technology classes and our ag ed, we receive some funding through Career Tech for those. And so what this does is this allows us to continue to receive that funding. And I would recommend to the board that we continue to do that and approve this contract with the Career Tech.
Make a motion that we approve 17.
Second?
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Slater,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
7.11, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the following service contracts for the 2018-19 school year. 7.1, 7.11.1, Voco Vision. 7.11.2, the Eyesight PLLC. 7.11.3, Today's Therapy Solutions.
Okay, these three service contracts will be used with our special needs students. Voco Vision is a company that we've used for psychological services, and what it allows us to do is to meet with that psychologist during that IEP process. It's been very beneficial for our district because they've provided us with some strategies when we've been working with students. The Eyesight PLLC is where we use the services of Dr. Callie Mossberg. She uses, when students fail screenings, then they can be referred to her. And then the last is Today's Therapy Solutions. And that is with Tara Warwick, and she is going to actually employ Darby Sterling as our physical therapist here for our district through her company. And I believe that all three of these service contracts are going to work out really well for our students in this district, and I would recommend that the board approve them.
I'll make a motion that we approve 7.11.1, 7.11.2, 7.11.3.
Second motion.
Slater,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Parker,
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Discussion with possible board action, vote to approve the procurement plan for child nutrition programs.
This is a required document that Berlita sends into the State Department that details how we will purchase equipment, food, anything for child nutrition. This is something we've done yearly, and I would recommend that the board that we approve this agenda item.
So moved.
Second.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Okay. Seven thirteen.
Someone else said, did we vote on that one?
Yes.
7.13, discussion with possible board action vote to approve the U.S. Foods Campus Smart Pricing Contract Extension for the 2018-19 school year.
Mrs. Eccles, our child nutrition director, has joined with about 25 other districts to, and it's called Campus Smart. And what it does, it allows us to have the best buying power through U.S. Foods. And I still have a lot to learn about this, and Carlita has been very patient with me in explaining, because I've asked a lot of questions, and she's done a great job of explaining, and I'm very appreciative of how patient she has been with me. But this is something we've been a member of since 2016, and I recommend to the board that we approve this agenda item.
Make a motion, we approve 7:13.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
7.14, discussion with possible board action vote to approve the Alva Public Schools handbooks for the 2018-19 school year.
The board has had an opportunity to look at our handbooks, and if there's no discussion or questions, I would ask the board to approve the student handbooks for all sides for the 2018-2019 school year.
I'll make a motion that we approve 7:14.
Second.
McDermott,
Aye.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Any new business?
There's no.
Signing of documents approved by earlier action. Adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
I'm sorry.
McDermott.
Pardon me?
I moved you on.